You know, it is a curious thing how we spend so much of our lives trying to direct the world as if we were the conductor of a grand cosmic orchestra. We stand there waving our tiny baton at the stars and the seasons and the flow of events, hoping they will take notice and play along. Yet, if you listen closely, the universe has always played its own tune. It never needed our instructions in the first place. We grow up hearing that life is something we must shape with effort and discipline, that if we do not grip the wheel with white knuckles, the whole thing will careen off the road. But when you step back for a moment and observe the movement of things, a strange realization appears. Life does not behave like a machine, it behaves like music. You cannot force a melody. You must move with it. You must feel the rhythm rather than command it. Imagine a swimmer standing at the edge of the ocean. He shouts at the waves. He demands that they rise at the exact height he prefers and arrive precisely when he is ready. He will stay tense and frustrated forever because the ocean listens to no one. Yet the moment he relaxes and begins to move with the water, something magical happens. The waves no longer seem like enemies. They become partners in a dance he had been resisting all along. This is what happens when we stop treating life as a thing we must dominate. The funny thing is that we start to see how much of our suffering came from the belief that we were ever separate from the tide of events. That we were a fragile creature tossed into a wild cosmos, rather than the cosmos expressing itself as a fragile creature. The difference may seem small, but it changes everything. Many people believe control offers safety. It promises certainty and order. Yet the more we chase that promise, the more anxious we become. Control is like trying to grasp water with a clenched fist. The tighter you squeeze, the more it escapes. It is only when you loosen your hand that the water can rest in your palm. Now, let us look at this more deeply. There is a story embedded in your mind, a story about who you are, what you must achieve, and how the world should behave. Most of us try to manage every detail of this story. We edit it, we polish it, we erase the bits that seem inconvenient. But notice what happens when life offers a plot twist you never asked for. A job disappears, a relationship falls apart, a plan collapses. The mind rushes to rearrange the narrative with frantic speed because it believes its identity depends on the outcome. This is where the illusion hides. You are not the author of the story. You are the witness of it. The story writes itself through you, and you discover it as you go along. When you cling too tightly to your imagined script, every surprise feels like a threat. When you let the story breathe, every surprise becomes part of the adventure. I often say that the universe is not a problem to be solved. It is a dance to be enjoyed. But dancing is impossible if you are obsessed with where your feet should land. You must let the music carry you. You must be willing to lose your balance for a moment, because that moment is where life happens. Think for a moment about who you were 10 years ago. Think about your fears, your desires, your grand plans. How many of those were fulfilled exactly the way you expected? And how many dissolved into nothing or transformed into something else entirely? Life has consistently ignored your predictions. It has also offered gifts you could never have designed on your own. There is wisdom hidden in that path. You are not meant to steer the river. You are meant to float with it, paddle through it, and occasionally let it sweep you into places you never would have imagined. Now, none of this means you should become passive. Let us clear that up. Allowing life to flow does not mean standing still and waiting for miracles. It means engaging with the world without the toxic belief that everything must bend to your will. It means showing up fully, doing your part, expressing your nature, but leaving room for the unexpected. A painter holds the brush, but the canvas still surprises him. A musician strikes the strings, but the notes sometimes take on a life of their own. That is not chaos. That is creativity. Imagine yourself as a surfer. The surfer does not command the ocean. He studies it, he listens to it, he learns its patterns. He feels its energy as it rises beneath him, and then he finds the right moment to stand and ride. That balance of intention and surrender is the essence of living well. Too much intention and you wipe out. Too much surrender and you miss the wave entirely. Let us return to the core insight. You are not a visitor in the universe. You are the universe experiencing a particular viewpoint for a short while. When you understand this, the idea of control becomes almost humorous. It is like a wave trying to control the ocean. The wave rises, moves, and falls as part of a vast process with no beginning and no end. And yet, the wave is free. Free to shape itself, free to express its form, free to dance upon the surface of the water for the brief moment it exists. This understanding shifts your relationship with uncertainty. Instead of fearing the unknown, you begin to see it as the very space in which life becomes interesting. If everything were predetermined, existence would be a dull, mechanical grind. Uncertainty is the invitation to creativity. It is the blank page that lets you paint something beautiful. It is the silence that gives music its shape. Without uncertainty, nothing could ever surprise you. And without surprise, you could never grow. Many of our struggles come from arguing with reality. Something happens and we immediately declare that it should not have happened. But notice how much energy is wasted in that moment. The event already occurred. The river has already flowed past. When you argue with reality, you lose every time. But when you breathe and allow the moment to be exactly what it is, a strange calmness emerges. From that calmness comes clarity. And from clarity comes the kind of action that is effective, graceful, and aligned with the flow of events rather than forced against them. Let me give you a simple example. Think about a time when you tried too hard. Perhaps you forced a creative idea, or pushed a conversation, or clung to a plan that felt wrong but seemed necessary. The more you forced it, the worse it became. Now think of a moment where you relaxed, stopped overthinking, and allowed things to unfold. The creative idea arrived naturally. The conversation took on its own rhythm. The plan adjusted itself in a way that felt strangely perfect. You were not controlling any of it. You were participating in it. And that participation felt effortless. Effortless does not mean no effort. It means effort without friction. It is the kind of effort that arises from alignment rather than desperation. You can feel the difference in your body. Forced action feels tight. Natural action feels spacious. Forced action creates anxiety. Natural action creates momentum. There is an ancient teaching that says the wise man is like water. Water does not resist. It flows around obstacles. It softens the hardest stone. Its power comes not from control but from adaptability. You are made of the same substance. Your mind becomes fluid when you stop trying to freeze life into a particular shape. So here is the invitation. Stop treating life as a project. Treat it as play. Treat it as exploration. Treat it as a dance in which you do not need to know the next step. You only need to be present for the one you are taking. The irony is that when you stop chasing control, you gain something far more valuable. You gain trust. Trust in your own nature. Trust in the intelligence of the moment. Trust in the rhythm of life itself. And this trust gives you a freedom that control could never offer. In the end, the goal is not to master life. The goal is to collaborate with it, to listen, to respond, to let yourself be surprised, to be carried and lifted and rearranged by the very currents you once feared. Because when you finally relax your grip, you discover that life has always known what it was doing. And it never needed your permission to unfold in the way it was meant to. And perhaps the most beautiful part is this: you were never meant to control the ocean. You were meant to learn how to surf.